Jai Gajanan, welcome to the Saint Mahima podcast. In this podcast, we seek to understand the divine lives, sacred leelas, and timeless teachings of the great saints through our sacred spiritual grants. In today's episode, we will reflect on Adhyay 3 of Shri Gajanan Vijay Granth and discover the spiritual wisdom it offers to guide us in our daily lives.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I am too. So as we dive into this deep dive of Adhyay 3, I want you, the listener, to just imagine being completely out of options. You are standing by the bed of someone you love and the doctors have just walked out of the room.
Right, they're just shaking their heads.
Exactly. They have given up all hope. The end is certain. But then this miraculous intervention happens. A single drop of water changes the entire course of reality. We're going to explore that exact scenario today, but before we get to that moment, we need to ground ourselves in the setting first.
Yeah, because the atmosphere of this chapter is, wow, it's really vital to understanding the lessons.
Right, the setting is half the story here.
Oh, absolutely. So we find ourselves at the house of Bankatlal in the sacred town of Shegaon. Shri Gajanan Maharaj is staying there, and the Granth paints this deeply sensory, almost cinematic picture of the morning.
It really does. It's so vivid.
It is. And it's not just a passing detail, it sets the spiritual frequency. The eastern horizon is glowing this deep, rich red. You can hear birds just starting to sing. There's a cool, gentle breeze blowing.
And the people are already active, right? Like the older devotees are sitting up in their beds, quietly chanting the name of God.
Yes. And the women are out in the courtyard sprinkling water to welcome the dawn. And you have these calves joyfully running toward the cows.
I mean, it sounds like absolute peace, just the kind of morning where everything feels right in the world.
It really is. It is a literal and spiritual dawn. The darkness is gone, and the presence of a true saint is illuminating the town.
So people are probably flocking there, right?
Oh, definitely. People are traveling from all over the region just to get a glimpse of him, just for darshan. And the text makes this really great observation here. It says that flies gather where there is honey, even if no one sends them an invitation.
Wow, that is a great analogy.
Yeah, in that same natural, undeniable way, people were drawn to the sweetness of his presence.
But the people drawn to that sweetness weren't all the same. Which actually brings us to the first event we need to talk about today.
Right, the contrast is pretty amazing.
Yeah, because you have this peaceful courtyard, and it's likely filled with well-dressed, prominent, wealthy devotees, people who have the means to travel and sit with the saint, and into this pristine environment walks someone who, well, does not fit in at all.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
The contrast is totally jarring.
Yeah.
In walks an ascetic who, for all intents and purposes, looks like a beggar.
Right.
His clothes are completely worn out. He is wearing just a small loincloth, a kerchief tied around his head, and his hair is this dry, messy, disorderly tangle down his back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he has a small bag slung over his shoulder. And as you can imagine, in a crowd of prominent people, he is instantly ignored. He just shrinks away and finds a neglected corner to sit in.
I feel like that is a feeling so many of us can relate to, walking into a room and instantly feeling like you don't have the status or the money or just the right appearance to be there.
Oh, for sure. Imposter syndrome, basically.
Exactly. So he just hides. But he is actually carrying a massive burden, isn't he? Like a secret intention.
He is. He traveled all the way from Kashi with a very specific, deeply personal vow. Having heard of the greatness of Shri Gajanan Maharaj, he made a vow to offer Ganja to him.
But then he gets there and sees the crowd.
Right. Reality sets in. He's terrified. He looks at the wealthy, polished crowd and thinks, if I even pull this out or utter the word Ganja in this sacred gathering, these people are going to physically kick me out.
So what does he do? Does he just give up and turn around?
No, he just sits there in his corner, silently agonizing over how he will ever fulfill this vow. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't raise his hand or anything.
But this is where we see the true nature of a saint, right? Shri Gajanan Maharaj doesn't need him to speak.
Exactly. Maharaj is omniscient, right through the crowd. He points directly at this poor, neglected ascetic in the corner and has the devotees bring him forward.
Oh, man, the panic that man must have felt being called to the front.
I can only imagine. And then Maharaj says to him, "Take out that bundle which you have been keeping in your bag for the last 3 months."
Wait, really? He knew exactly what was in the bag and that it had been sitting there for exactly 3 months.
Everything. He knew everything.
Yeah.
And the ascetic is so overwhelmed by this divine grace, this complete feeling of being truly seen, that he starts rolling on the floor with joy like a child.
That is so beautiful.
It is. He humbly explains that he knows Maharaj doesn't actually need this offering, but he pleads with him to accept it simply to fulfill a pure desire. And he uses this really beautiful analogy from the scriptures.
Oh, what was the analogy?
He reminds the gathering that when Anjani prayed to Lord Shiva to be born as her child, Lord Shiva accepted the form of a monkey. He took birth as Mahurdra Hanuman just to fulfill her prayer.
That is profound. The divine adapts to the shape of the devotee's pure love, no matter how unusual that shape might be.
Exactly. Maharaj is looking at the absolute sincerity of the man's heart, not the worldly value of the object in his bag.
So does he take it?
Yes. Maharaj agrees and accepts the offering to honor that love. But the Granth is very careful to clarify a crucial point here.
Let's accept.
It explicitly says that Maharaj accepted it, but he never became attached to it. The text compares his behavior to a lotus leaf.
Oh, I love that imagery. So resting on the surface of the water, but not absorbing any of it.
Precisely. A drop of water will just roll right off a lotus leaf, remains completely untouched. In the same way, the saint interacts with the material world to uplift his devotees, but remains entirely unbound by it.
And we really see that unpredictability, that detachment play out in his daily behavior.
Constantly.
Yeah, because the text describes Maharaj sometimes reciting Vedas in these beautiful, sweet tones, showing his vast knowledge. But other times, he is just continuously chanting Ganat Bot.
Right, and sometimes he observes total silence
Huh?
or even wanders off into the jungle. It is really hard for the average person to grasp.
But then that detached peace is suddenly interrupted by a very real, very human crisis.
It is a massive crisis. This brings us to the story of a well-known man in Shegaon named Janrao Deshmukh. Janrao was on his deathbed.
This is a situation we mentioned at the start of the deep dive.
Yes. The situation has escalated to the point where the doctors have completely thrown in the towel. They have notified the relatives that the end is here and medical science can do no more.
What do you even do in that moment, when the medical experts tell you it's officially over?
The family turns to faith. They remember the spiritual history of their culture. They recall how the great Saint Shri Gajanan once revived Sachidananda.
Oh, okay. So they are drawing on past miracles.
Exactly. They believe that Shri Gajanan Maharaj possesses that same limitless divine capability. So, in their utter desperation, they rush over to Bankalal's house.
Did they try to bring Maharaj back to the hospital bed?
No, actually. They seek something simpler, but infinitely powerful. With the permission of Bankalal's father, Pavaneram, they take a little bit of water and touch it to the feet of Shri Gajanan Maharaj.
So they create Pada Tirtha, sacred water.
Yes, Pada Tirtha. They tell Maharaj this is for Janrao, and he gives his quiet consent.
And they just take this water back to a dying man? Does it actually work?
It is an immediate miracle.
Right.
They give the Pada Tirtha to Janrao, and he regains consciousness right away.
Just like that.
Just like that. They actually stop all the other medicines. Within a single week, running on just a daily dose of this sacred water, Janrao recovers his health completely.
That is unbelievable.
It acts as a literal life-saving nectar. And he is so overwhelmed with gratitude that he eventually goes for darshan and celebrates by feeding hundreds of people at the mouth.
Okay, but think about this practically. If word gets out that a saint can cure terminal illness with a single drop of water, that must create absolute chaos.
Oh, total chaos.
People would be flooding in from everywhere seeking miracles.
And that is exactly what happens. The dynamic shifts completely. To avoid these problems and protect the spiritual integrity of the space, Maharaj becomes incredibly strict. He starts acting indifferent and even harsh to keep the crowds at bay.
Which would be terrifying for an ordinary person just showing up.
It would be, but the Granth makes a beautiful point here. It says real devotees aren't deterred by that strictness.
Right, because it compares it to Prahlad, who wasn't terrified by the fearsome lion-headed form of the god Narsimha.
Exactly. Or how tiny cubs aren't afraid of a roaring tigress. If your devotion is pure, you know the saint's strictness is actually just protection.
But, well, the problem is that not everyone who approaches a saint has pure intentions.
No, definitely not.
Some people see that strictness not as protection, but as an opportunity for themselves. They see power and they want a piece of it. Which introduces us to a man named Vithoba Ghatol.
Yes, our first real hypocrite of the deep dive.
Tell me about him.
So Vithoba is staying close to Shri Gajanan Maharaj, but he is a complete fraud. He is acting as if he is Maharaj's right-hand man. He calls himself the Kalyan of Maharaj, boasting to everyone that the saint depends entirely on him for food and comfort.
Wow, the ego on this guy.
It gets worse. He even arrogantly compares himself to the sacred bull that stands before Lord Shiva.
It is literally clout chasing. It is such a modern problem, you know, seeing someone try to get close to a powerful figure, not to learn from them, but just to absorb their status and look important to everyone else.
Absolutely.
But Maharaj is omniscient. We established that. He knew about the Ganja in the bag.
Yeah.
He has to know what Vithoba's doing.
He knows everything. And Vithoba's ego eventually pushes him right over the edge. The climax happens when a group of impatient visitors arrive for darshan, but Maharaj happens to be sleeping.
And no true devotee would ever dare wake a sleeping saint.
Never. But these visitors are in a hurry. So they look around, they see Vithoba acting like he runs the place, and they start flattering him.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they tell him, oh, you are the most intelligent, you are the closest to Maharaj, only you have the power to wake him up so we can get our darshan.
Waking a sleeping saint just for the sake of your own ego.
It is a total disaster.
Oh.
Blinded by the flattery, Vithoba goes and wakes Maharaj up.
What happens?
Well, the visitors get their darshan, but Vithoba receives the full force of divine wrath. Shri Gajanan Maharaj grabs a stick and furiously thrashes Vithoba.
He thrashes him.
Yes, he shouts at him, completely exposing his hypocrisy. He yells that Vithoba has started a business in this sacred space. Maharaj declares that if he tolerates this, he would be guilty before God.
Wow. He doesn't hold back.
Not at all. He says you shouldn't treat wine like a sweet drink, you shouldn't touch poison, and you shouldn't make friends with thieves.
So the business is officially closed.
Permanently. After that severe lesson, Vithoba flees and never returns.
Let's pause here for a second. Because when you stack these three stories next to each other, the ascetic, the miraculous healing of Janrao, and the thrashing of Vithoba, a massive logical question bubbles up.
What's that?
Well, if Maharaj has the power to pull Janrao back from the absolute brink of death, why doesn't he do that for everyone? Like, why does anyone ever suffer or die in Shegaon?
That is the ultimate question of faith, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what is brilliant about the Granth is that it doesn't just wave its hands and say, oh, it's a mystery.
Right.
It actually provides a highly technical, logical framework to explain why divine intervention happens in some cases and not others. The text categorizes death and suffering into three distinct types.
Okay, let's break down this framework. If the universe has rules, what is the first rule?
The first type of death is called Adhyatmic. This is natural, destined death, the subjective, inevitable end of the physical journey.
So the normal course of life.
Right. The text is incredibly clear. Nobody can avoid this. Saints do not behave against the fundamental laws of nature. The Granth gives the powerful historical example of Abhimanyu, who was killed in battle right in the physical presence of Sri Krishna himself.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, when it is the destined time, the laws of nature are respected, even by the divine.
So if the code of the universe says your time is up, a saint isn't just going to overwrite that code. That makes perfect sense. What is the second type?
The second is Adhibhoutic. And this one is fascinating because it relates to the material world and our own personal choices. This is suffering and premature decline caused by bad eating habits, terrible living conditions, and an undisciplined lifestyle that just ruins the physical body.
I want to push back on this a little bit because this feels very pointed. Are you saying that if I treat my body terribly for decades eating poorly, never arresting divine intervention isn't going to just magically fix the damage I intentionally caused?
The Granth is remarkably practical here. It explicitly states that this type of suffering can often be averted simply with the help of a competent doctor and by changing your habits.
That is amazing.
It is. The divine expects you to take responsibility for your material choices. You don't need a miracle, you know. You need discipline and medical science.
It's mind-blowing to find that in a spiritual text. It is essentially telling you, before you ask for a miracle, go see a doctor and eat your vegetables.
Exactly.
Which leaves the third category. Where does Janrao's miraculous healing fit into this?
So Janrao falls into the third category, which is Adhidaivic. This is unnatural, accidental, or spiritually imbalanced death. It's an anomaly.
Like a glitch.
Yeah, exactly like a glitch. Because Janrao's death was deemed unnatural in this specific way, glitch in his timeline, it created a space where intervention was permissible.
Ah, I see.
This is the exact area where the profound faith of his family, the blessings of a saint, and the power of Pada Tirtha can actually operate. Saints can intervene in the Adhidaivic, but they will not overturn the natural Adhyatmic timeline.
That is a perfect balance. It balances limitless divine power with human responsibility and natural law. It makes complete sense of the Janrao story.
It really does.
Now, let's apply some of that logic to the other two stories. You have the quiet ascetic, and you have the hypocrite, Vithoba. Both men are sitting in the exact same room, breathing the same air, in the physical presence of Shri Gajanan Maharaj.
Right.
One receives profound grace, and the other gets thrashed with a stick. How does physical proximity to the divine yield such drastically different results?
The Granth uses some stunning natural analogies to explain this dynamic. It points out that the earth provides a foundation for everything to grow, right?
Yeah.
From the exact same soil, you will see the incredibly sweet-smelling mogra flower bloom, but you will also see the thorny, useless, prickly pear grow right next to it.
Oh, wow.
They both receive the same sunlight and rain, but their internal nature determines their true value.
So just being in the room doesn't magically change who you are inside.
Exactly. The text also mentions that in mines you will find ordinary pebbles sitting right next to priceless diamonds. But a stone cannot get a diamond's luster just by sitting close to it. You cannot absorb spiritual greatness through proximity while your inner intentions remain completely selfish.
Vithoba definitely tried to shortcut his way to greatness.
He did, and his fate is described as a profound tragedy. The text says that associating with a saint is like sitting under the kalpa vriksha, the heavenly wish-fulfilling tree.
But he didn't ask for the right thing.
Not at all. Instead of asking for spiritual liberation, Vithoba essentially asked for an ordinary pebble. He stood before the divine cow, Kamdenu, which can grant any boon in the world, and he asked for a mere coconut shell.
It is like being handed a blank check from the universe. You can ask for ultimate peace, for a clean heart, for true spiritual freedom. And instead, you write down a request for 3 pennies of social clout. It really is tragic.
It is. The ascetic in the corner wanted nothing but to humbly offer his love, even if nobody ever saw him. Vithoba wanted everyone to look at him and see how important he was.
The divine sees straight through the exterior in both cases.
Always. Saints may tolerate bad people initially, knowing they are suffering from past actions, but just as you wouldn't keep corruption in your home, they will eventually eliminate the hypocrisy from their presence.
So how do we take these massive spiritual concepts, these incredible leelas, and weave them into our actual lives? Let's distill this into our daily life lessons.
I think that's a great idea.
If you are listening to this right now, driving your car or drinking your coffee, what is the first gentle takeaway you can apply today?
I think the first lesson comes directly from the ascetic in the corner. It is a lesson about the power of pure, quiet intention.
I love that.
In our lives, we often feel like we need to be loud to be heard,
Right.
feel like we need status, wealth, or a front row seat to be recognized even by the divine. But the ascetic proves that pure, unpretentious faith is always seen.
It doesn't matter where you are sitting.
Right. If you feel neglected at work or unseen in your personal struggles, remember that quiet sincerity is never overlooked by the universe. Approach your daily spiritual practices without putting on a show.
You don't need a megaphone to speak to the divine. That is a really beautiful comfort. What about the second lesson?
The second lesson comes from that highly practical warning about Adhibhoutic suffering. It is a direct call to take responsibility for our health and our habits.
The go see a doctor rule.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
A practical way to honor these high spiritual teachings is to respect your own physical body. Live with discipline. Watch what you consume.
Right.
And when you make mistakes and face health issues, seek proper medical help. We have to be active participants in our own well-being, reserving our pleas for divine intervention for the things that are truly beyond our human control.
You can't ask the universe to do the push-ups for us. We have to do the work ourselves.
Very well said.
And finally, what is the third lesson we can take from Vithoba's tragedy?
The third lesson is about recognizing the diamonds in your life. When you are given a profound opportunity, whether that is stumbling upon a moment of deep peace, finding a teaching that truly resonates, or being given a chance to heal a broken relationship, do not waste it on superficial, selfish desires.
Don't ask the wish-fulfilling tree for a pebble.
Exactly. When you find a moment of true grace, ask for genuine spiritual growth. Ask for humility. Don't waste the most sacred moments of your life chasing after coconut shells.
What a profound place to pause. As you go through your day today, take a look at your own intentions. Ask yourself, are you asking the universe for pebbles when you're sitting right under a wish-fulfilling tree? Take a moment today to reflect on what you are truly seeking. May Sadguru, Shri Gajanan Maharaj bless us with devotion, humility, wisdom, and the strength to live our daily lives according to his teachings. Shri Gajanan Maharaj ki jai. Ganat Jai Gajanan.